Good morning, everyone. Today's topic is how unfair the parole board is that they are not forced to go by any guidelines that they could play judge, jury, and executioner without having anyone to answer to. We have several people that have seen the parole board and that will be seeing the parole board that pretty much has given up hope because of the actions of the parole board, who most of them probably should be in prison for the way they treat inmates, which is mental abuse. We have one parole board member going into the prisons talking to the inmates and saying, no matter what program you take, what vocational class you're in, you're at our mercy. And that's pretty much true. That's why we need to get introduced in legislation our proposal for a fair parole process. We need to talk to our legislators and push it and push it and push it. This will start at the end of February. We're going to give them a month, the new people at least a month, to get established somewhat. Then, of course, they're going to be meeting with us and they're going to get to know us very well, because we're not going to stay silent. We're going to keep going and keep going until we get it introduced and passed. And that's part of what our protests that are coming up is all about. And it's about bringing awareness to the public regarding the parole practices and the unfair actions of the parole board, along with the way the staff treat the inmates. We want that to be brought to the public. We have now 9 parole board members. We're down from 12. The average parole board member makes $100,000 a year. And I think that's why one of the people that sits on the parole board that I met in her office in Columbus when she was a senator about 4 years ago, she stated to me that they need to be paroled. And she should be held accountable because it's not happening the way she told us. Parole board members are bringing up tickets from 4, 5, 6 years ago or longer, and minor tickets. Remember, even for fighting, folks, remember you're dealing with all types of personalities inside a prison. So fights will happen. The only way a person should be denied parole would be if they picked up a new felony while they were incarcerated. Not by nature of offense, that don't change, but people will change and do change. And we understand there's a small section of, or a small group of people that probably should never be out. And I'm not talking about them, because if our proposal gets introduced and passed, the right people will get a parole. No one should be charged as an adult who is a juvenile. We have people that was convicted at the age of 15 and 16, 25, 30 years ago, that is still incarcerated. And that needs a change. But change starts with us. And if we cannot get people to work together for this change, how will it ever occur? It won't. That's why we have such a great base in Cleveland right now who supports us and who works with us for change. We need to gain more support in Columbus, my town where I live. We need more support throughout the state of Ohio. If you think of how many people really care about our cause, I'm sure it's a lot of people. And those are the ones we need to reach and get them to work with us. But before change can occur, we need to educate our legislators as well as the people in society that we need change and why we need change. You know, and I tell the victims, we do get calls from victims at times, and I'm very sympathetic with them, but keeping people in longer than they should is not going to change the outcome of what happened at the beginning. And it's sad that the victim's family had to go through any of that, because no family should. So I'm not going to support when we do wrong stuff. but I do support change, and I support rehabilitation, I support reentry. And our group supports all three. But without the fair chance for these folks to get out of prison or come out of prison, they won't need no reentry. But if we help people when they do get out, it will cut down on the violence on the street, because a lot of these people that commit murder or shoot at people when they on the street are repeat offenders. But if we would sit down and start helping these folks, you would cut down on the violence on the street and new crimes. And that's why I'm speaking to those that are fighting the violence in the streets. I know a couple people, all they do is talk on the video, say, oh, we shouldn't do this, people shouldn't do that. But where are they for the change? They're not with us. They're bragging about themselves for the most part. And that's not what we're about. If we would sit there and say, look at us, change will never occur. Is look at what we're trying to do is what should be done. And remember, we're the voice of the voiceless who is incarcerated. If they tried to speak out about how they're treated unfair, they'll be put in segregation, they'll be written up, they'll be mentally and physically abused in some areas. And we have brought to the ODRC a few times on the ways people are being harassed or even sexually harassed at one of the institutions. But nothing is ever done. But when an inmate does something wrong, it's a different story. And they'll use that against them for the parole board. So we need to stand united. United we stand, or divided we fall, as the old saying is. So let's work together. If you would like to make a small donation to our organization, please go to our website, www.fairtreatmentreformandreentry.org. Again, that is www.fairtreatmentreformandreentry.org. You could also send us a message to our email, all small letters, fairtreatmentreform@gmail.com. Again, that is fairtreatmentreform@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone.